Daddy's back.
Yo, what's poppin'? All my peeps, it is I, your host with the most, Renaissance man who always thinks he can, and champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, back again in the yard of streams for another edition of Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show, where we take no nights off. And I mean, you can't be in the yard of streams and have Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show without the best of the West. You can't forget about Sarah Marshall. What's poppin', girl?
Hey, yo.
Hello, people.
Hey, people. Hi, people.
Hey, hello, guys. Hello.
Happy Friday. We don't
It
usually
is Friday.
record on Fridays because that is set for SmackDown, but things come up. All right, things come up.
I had a kindergarten winter concert to attend.
That's
Sorry.
a big effing deal.
I had
Sarah,
front row
all right?
seats. So
Yeah, they definitely rolled out the red carpet for you because they know, obviously, your celeb status because of the show, and you, I'm assuming, had a great time. I don't.
yeah,
know.
I mean, I had to be there for Auntie Titi. You know,
You had to be. You
Yeah.
had to be there to support
Yeah.
your peep.
Mhm.
Your un peep especial.
Yes.
So we're here on a Friday, and we have a lot of peeps already. All right.
Yeah.
The only ones that have made a comment though is OG David. Yo,
What up?
Poppin'. And we got a nice little show for you guys today. Lots going on in the wrestling world right now. We are approaching Royal Rumble season, my favorite time of year, with
Mhm.
a lot. It's got to that point. I saw it today, Sarah, for the first time. It's the videos that are the caption is imagine, and then it's the countdown clock, and then just whoever
Oh
the
yeah.
person's favorite wrestler is, or whoever they
Mm.
just want to return their Titantron.
Mhm.
I love that time of year because it's like, all right, everyone's getting ready for the Rumble, we're popping, like, and I know it gets a little annoying, and we're gonna go into our Rumble return, all that topic in the show, but I don't know. I'm very excited for the Royal Rumble this year because there's a lot that could happen.
Yeah. Well, and I think that it's feeling a little bit different too because it goes into Mania season and then we're going to be there. So it's like everything that is happening between now and then, it's like going to impact the show and we're going to be there. So whatever's happening, it's like we're going to be able to be there to see it. So it feels a little bit different, I think, than normal. You know, it's like the excitement is on a level 10 a bit. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I do believe that because we are going to WrestleMania this year, that the Royal Rumble definitely has heightened hype around it.
Yeah.
For sure. Especially with Mr. One Bill Phil returning. I don't know. It's a great time to be a wrestling fan. And even though there's a great time to be a wrestling fan, there are some bad parts to being a wrestling fan right now, which is a little segue into the opening topic of the show. Where is it?
Don't be a lemon, be a rosebud.
Don't be a lemon, Sarah. Be a rosebud. It is time for our lemons and rosebuds of the week of wrestling. Oh, God.
Ow.
You just got whacked.
Ah, she scratched me. Her nails went into my body. Ow. Okay, that hurt.
You just
That
got
hurt.
Gunther chopped.
Yeah, that hurt a little bit.
Oh, that looked like it did.
Owie.
Jesus. That was rude of her. Yeah, so for anyone who's new here, lemon rosebud of the week, our favorite rosebud and least favorite was poppin'.
What is poppin'?
Gold medal. Kurt Angle over there in the comment section. We love it. Lemon rosebud, favorite and least favorite thing of the week. And Sarah, ladies first. What was that? What was your favorite thing this week in wrestling?
You know what's funny is it hasn't happened yet.
Ooh,
But
okay.
I have high expectations, I think, for SmackDown this evening. We're supposed to have AJ Styles finally return, who was supposed to return like multiple times at this point, but it is said to be official now. So I'm excited to see how that goes. And then we also have Carmelo Hayes. He's going to be against Grayson Waller in the U.S. title tourney. So I think what I'm excited about is you don't know what is going to happen with either of them. Like a lot of people thought it was going to be AJ Styles versus Roman at some point, but then I think Randy's return kind of threw a kink into that, so I'm not sure how that's going to come about. Obviously, AJ has beef with the Bloodline because they took him out. You know, we saw Solo Sikoa commit a crime on live television against AJ Styles. So, I don't like the idea of that being completely done. I want to see AJ versus Roman. And Carmelo, he's in an active storyline with Trick Williams and whoever else down in NXT, adding another layer this past week, pretending, I assume, to have also been jumped backstage. So
You think he's pretending?
Yeah, that's fake. Yeah, because his cover was blown.
What do you mean his cover was blown?
Because they thought it was settled because Lexus King admitted it wasn't him and that he was just using the match with Carmelo for clout.
I knew that. Yeah.
So I'm saying, so like Carmelo felt comfortable because it was like, yeah, it was Lexus King, like he did it, and then Lexus gets on the match and is like, no, it wasn't me. I just wanted to be here and like use you. So now Carmelo is like, oh gosh, what am I gonna do? So he pretends to get jumped. So now it's like, we were jumped by the same dude. Like we got messed up by the same person. We need to find who it was. So it's like taking the heat off him. That's my theory. So I'm curious to see what he does on the main roster because we assume he's getting called up soon.
And I mean, I kind of predicted this already, that you kind of knew Melo was getting called up. He was already on Raw for a little bit, doing that whole thing with Seth. Now you put him on SmackDown, and this Trick Williams feud seems like it would, or storyline, this is the end of Carmelo and NXT, because it's pretty much him saying that, you know, this is your place now. I'm bigger than that. Like I should be treated like that, whatnot.
Yeah.
You go into that storyline. I love that. And it's time. Like it really is time for Melo to be on the main roster. All right. There's no reason he shouldn't be. The show, what show he should go on, that's something I can't answer right now, but you need him to be going up with main roster guys because he can do it. He's proven it.
I agree. So I'm just curious to see like how this goes. Like if they do kind of hint at a main roster feud for him, you know, because then like the transition from NXT to if it's SmackDown would be a little bit easier because then we would know, okay, he's going right after this person or he's going to go after this person. And we also don't know, like the last time that he was on Raw or SmackDown, he was a babyface. Now he's not. So that changes things a lot too. Because I mean, then him going against Grayson Waller, like, are people going to cheer for him? I assume they are. So it's kind of like conflicting with like what he's doing in NXT versus how he's going to be perceived on SmackDown. So I'm excited for that. I think I know it's kind of a cop out because we haven't seen it yet, but I think that's just something I'm the most excited about.
I'm going to go with my Rosebud of the week it's this Trick Williams Melo. It's NXT as a whole. You know, obviously I sit down every Monday and Friday and watch SmackDown, then the next and Raw, and then the next day rewatch it. The other product, you know, I'll go back and watch it if it's something I want to talk about here or I just want to know I'm that invested in it. NXT wasn't even on my radar. Like when we started doing this, we weren't watching NXT 2.0.
No, it was cringy.
It was really cringy, really green, and we were just being nostalgic about the black and gold era. With this era of NXT, it legitimately feels like its own separate brand. It does not feel like it is developmental. And I try to describe to wrestling fans in my circle, or I mean, people who are not wrestling fans in my circle, that it's WWE's developmental, but I feel like I'm not being truthful because it doesn't feel like developmental because of just not only the great matches that they're putting on, but the backstage segments, the vignettes that actually feel like it's out of a movie or drama TV series. It's so well done, and you have to give HBK his flowers at this
I
point.
think the reason why that doesn't necessarily feel like developmental is because the people that are featured on TV every week have been there for so long that they've become superstars. But you're going to see more of the developmental part through like the breakout tournament, because those are literally people who have no experience with wrestling. Most of them are just former athletes trying to still utilize their athleticism, physicality, whatever, to the best of their ability, and they turn to wrestling. And so we're going to see a lot of up and comers, I would say, over the next several weeks, however long the tournament is. And so I think that aspect is going to feel more developmental, but I think that in a good way, it's almost it's like a good thing that it doesn't feel like developmental, because obviously these are people who are doing a really good job then, because when you would watch the original NXT back in the day when it wasn't its own brand, it was like a show where they were partnered with a seasoned veteran, that was cringy. And it's like, yeah, because like the whole setup was really awkward, and they did get some good people out of it, obviously. But that you knew, like, oh yeah, this person doesn't have, like, they're new to all of this. So it's interesting that NXT doesn't feel that way.
It's nice. It's
Yeah.
really nice. I mean, the only people I don't know in NXT right now are the men's breakout tournament contestants.
Mm-hmm.
I know 0 of them. Like when they
Yeah.
were doing the vignettes.
Lexus King is in there, but
I'm not counting him because
what is with people and hating him though? I'm kind of confused. Like, I don't know that much about him, but he gets roasted. Like, you know what? Okay, so I don't really understand it, but here's somewhat of my theory on it. It's like it, he's kind of that like old school corny heel that like comes off kind of scripted sounding, but that's just like part of their character, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that people don't receive it that way, or a lot of the people who watch it haven't been watching it long enough to be like, oh, he's like, this is like a throwback type of character that's like really
It
into
is.
himself and really cocky and whatever. Because like I watched that interview with him, the backstage interview where they said he was talking to Ava Rain, right? And I think that was it. And people were like coming for him because they were like, oh my God, this was so cringy. I'm like, not really though.
No,
Like,
I didn't think it was cringy.
yeah,
Oh,
and
it was
that's why
perfect.
I was like, to me, like, I don't know how he is in the ring. I haven't watched him enough to say. Like,
He's decent. He's
I
very
don't
decent.
love his facial hair, but like I'm not going to say this dude sucks because I don't like his beard. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm just confused like where this hatred for him is coming from, because even AEW people don't like him. And
AEW, that I blame that on the gimmick he was in with the Varsity Blondes.
I
They
just
were
think,
trying to do a ripoff of the Hollywood Blondes with his dad, and they just had a cheerleader and made it high school.
yeah, I just think
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was weird because I was like, I feel like he's not been around long enough to like I thought that speech after the match with Mello saying he only used Mello for clout, that was
Brilliant.
hilarious. And
Brilliant. It was
that
awesome.
plays into today's society. Like everybody, for the most part, who has a social media and is trying to gain a following and make have some sort of impact online, they're using everybody for clout. So that was the perfect thing for him to say. It was hilarious, and it did exactly what he wanted.
It's a
So
throwback to his dad's character. Like, he's paying homage to Brian Pillman, not in the Lexus King gimmick, because Brian Pillman was the loose cannon and a lot more eccentric, but in the mannerisms, in how he does things, I mean, his moves, one thing, like a little bit from what I've seen in the ring. but it's more that you can tell that he, like, you remember the opening vignette or
Mhm.
to introduce him, he's watching all these old clips. Like, it makes sense if
Yeah.
you pay attention to that. And so if the people who don't are not understanding him and throwing
Yeah, they
shade
don't
at him,
get it.
whatnot, they don't
Yeah.
get it. You can't think. You, as I say all the time, you should lack the ability to think critically.
Well, and I think that people just need to be more open to different
100%.
styles of characters, you know, like it reminds me a lot of like everyone who took issue with LA Knight because they were like, "Oh, he's such an attitude era guy, blah 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 blah." And then a month later, they're all eating it up. And it's like, yeah, because he's old school. He's got that vibe to him. Like it makes him cool. It's different because no one else is like that right now. And so that's how it feels with Lexus King. Like he's not doing anything like that's not been done before, but it's not that common right now. And so it's like I just was kind of confused. Like I don't know if he's done something that I'm just not aware of, but like I just thought it was weird.
It was very weird.
Yeah.
I didn't get it at all.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what's your lemon, Sarah? What are we not liking this week?
I feel like every week is the same thing. It just involves the same people. But
Death, taxes, Vinci takes the fall. Put it
Yeah,
on a t-shirt.
I'm just not even gonna talk about that at this point. My main issue, I guess it's not even like that big of an issue. I guess I was just kind of hoping for something different, and that is the Miz getting a rematch against Gunther. Like we haven't seen Gunther give rematches to that many people for the IC title because he doesn't need to. And so I wasn't expecting that Miz was going to get one. And I felt like I just wanted to see Gunther have a new opponent, like a new storyline, something that wasn't the Miz, because it's like, okay, I get it. Like the Miz was like a good person for him to go against at that time. But I feel like this is just lazy, you know, like
Filler.
yeah, and I don't like that though. Like I want Gunther to have like a longer storyline with somebody, a longer feud than something that only lasts like 2 weeks and you know as of build up to the pay-per-view or something. Like I want there to be something deeper than that, especially because we're getting closer to the Royal Rumble. And what if he's in the Rumble match, or what if he has a match for the title at the Rumble? It's like I want there to be something more substantial than him just having like a third match with the Miz, you know. So that
That's
just
true.
kind of disappointed me because I was like, there's other people he could face, you know, like. But
Do you think that because they're having him face the Miz again could mean that he's going to be in the Rumble?
then does that mean that he's gonna lose the title to the Miz?
No, you can still book him to be in the Rumble and
I
be
think.
champion.
I mean, he could be. Yeah. I mean, I think that he has to be in the Rumble. Like you can't really have him be number 1 last year and be the final 2 with Cody and then not have him in there the following year even if
Yeah.
he is champion. I feel like that would be kind of lame. Right now it just kind of looks like I don't know, it still to me looks like they don't know what to do with Imperium as a collective group. Like I just feel like they don't know what direction to take. They don't know if they should like fight within each other or should they get involved in another storyline. Like it's like they don't know, and I think that includes Gunther. Like they just don't have an idea of what to do with him. So
Yeah, there's nothing you need to have them on TV
mhm.
and you can find ways to just easily have them on, have a match and do their thing.
Mhm.
But to have them go into a full-fledged storyline with someone, feud,
Mhm.
there's really no one that realistically makes sense, kind of because you've one exhausted all your options, but two, you've made them so dominant. And by them, it's really just Gunther and his henchmen. Like you haven't made it. Imperium is just Gunther and the other two.
Well, and that's the thing is that's why they ruined the rest of Imperium because they were
Yeah.
supposed to be basically just as dominant as Gunther, but then they did the complete opposite instead, which I think is weird. I've said it a million times, but like Gunther would not be like put himself around guys like that? Like, why would
What's
he be
wrong with
around
it?
losers? That doesn't make any sense. So it's something that I take issue with Triple H, you know?
He can't be perfect. Nobody's perfect, Sarah.
I
But they
know.
still got to work it
Yeah.
again and again until they get it right. All right. What's my lemon? Oh, it's kind of easy because I'm wearing it. Actually, Sarah, that my lemon was going to be the deletion of the Elite because we haven't seen the Young Bucks, and it makes me sad because I actually do love seeing the Young Bucks. I love seeing BTE. Ridiculous that the Dark Order took over BTE, which I find hilarious. John Silver, maybe one of the most entertaining pro wrestlers out there. Yup, and there it is. That is there's the lemon because right before we hopped in here, it was announced via Kenny Omega himself on Twitter that he will be out indefinitely due to dealing with diverticulitis.
Articulate. Yeah.
I got it right. But yeah, he'll be dealing with that. For anyone who doesn't know, it's an intestines disease. Brock Lesnar went through the same issue and disease when he was in UFC. So, best wishes to Kenny. We hope of speedy recovery. I'm just very sad because I love seeing Kenny Omega on my screen every Wednesday because I didn't get to see him for so long. And he was just, for me, this kind of mystical superhero over in Japan. Like,
Yeah.
you're watching WWE and you're watching TNA, or the latter half of it. And you know those guys, but then there's this guy Kenny Omega who's putting on the greatest wrestling matches ever in Japan against some guy Okada. So you go and tune into that, and then you expose yourself to that style and fall in love with it, and realize, oh shit, Kenny Omega might be the best wrestler in the world, and he doesn't work for the number one wrestling company in the world. Oxymoron. So when I just sad. I could go on and on, but it's just like. I just love seeing Kenny Omega on my screen, and I had a feeling something was up too, Sarah, after his promo that him and Jericho cut against Big Bill and Ricky Starks.
I heard that
was some of the worst. That's also my lemon. Like the whole Kenny.
I heard that Ricky's killed it, but that Jericho and Omega were pretty bad.
Oh no! When I say how bad it is all one-sided. The Jericho Kenny Omega were awful. Kenny Omega before they went back on air was dancing like this to Jericho's music, like just not a care in the world. You had them the messing up words, like stumbling over words doesn't really annoy me because it makes it more real. But the comebacks, the zingers, like they were just like, they said it fell flat. It was a very flat segment.
Yeah, I know. I saw that people were like, "Oh my god," because I don't watch it, but I follow a lot of people who watch everything, so I see their reactions to things that are happening in AEW. So I tend to see when something's really good or something's really bad, And that was one of the things that I saw, and I was like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, good for Ricky though. I guess you're able to say that you dominated a segment with those guys. That's pretty cool.
So yeah, Ricky Starks, I want to see in WWE.
He's coming. Stop it.
Pat, look at the chat. Why am I looking at the chat?
He was saying something about Ilya going against.
Oh,
Luther.
I'm gonna get to chats right after Rosebud and Lemon. So, but yeah, that was mine. That was so sad. But all right, well, he introduced it. Let's go to it. So we got chats popping here. We got Mr. Anderson letting us know that our tribal chief returns tonight, Friday.
He sure does.
It's the funniest thing in wrestling. It's just Roman's coming. Roman's coming. It's like Santa.
Not really. I feel like you see Santa more often than you see Roman Reigns at this point.
I mean, you do kind of have a point. And I've seen a lot more Santa in the past few weeks than I have my tribal chief. What's up, David Numero Dos? Brennan Staley is fired. That was hilarious. Not him being fired. It's the way it was like the fact that It had to get to a point where it was 60. You got beaten 63-21.
Yeah,
and then
the
that's
Chargers,
it.
I think they were intentionally trying to lose. I think they wanted Staley out. There's just no way.
Really?
Yeah. If you watched the game, you could tell there was no energy. Like there was just nothing from the entire team, basically. Like they did not have a care in the world to me until it was garbage time. And that was why they were able to score. Like once they knew that the game was done, then they were like, okay, let's turn it up a little bit. It's like once the Raiders didn't care anymore, the Chargers are also were like, all right, I guess we can care a little bit. But to me, it just felt like, yeah, they wanted him out because the Raiders are not a good enough team to score 63 points.
The Raiders are an awful football team. And the fact they scored 63 points is nonsense.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like the Chargers are not a bad team. They have a lot of injuries, but like not let me score almost 70 on you. Like, no.
Those are Madden type stats.
Yeah.
We need Gunther versus Brock Lesnar. Oh my god, that match I needed. As long as Gunther walks out of there Intercontinental Champion.
Yes.
I said what I said,
would
he doesn't need to win, but
I wouldn't be mad about him versus Ilya, but I just think that I don't know if I don't know that Ilya will be on the roster long enough for people to get invested into Ilya. You know what I mean? Obviously that would be a banger match because those are my guys. The European hard-hitting legit goes. Yeah, so of course I want to see Ilya versus Gunther. Of course I do. But he's the champion right now, and we're almost through December. Like I don't know that they would put him up. Plus, if we're supposed to believe that, you know, call-ups and stuff are supposed to happen through the draft, then that's not happening until what, like May or whenever the draft was. It was after Mania.
It was like a month after Mania, right?
It was like
it was like a few weeks after. Actually,
it was like 2 weeks after or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Pitts, I hope Adam Copeland and Christian Cage team up next year and win tag team championship. Here's the thing. I only want to see them tag again if you're going to go all in and go ENC, Hardys, Dudleys one last time. It can happen finally. I feel like that in the state of wrestling we're in, fans want that nostalgia act, and everyone except for Devon is still active.
Yeah,
so why not?
And Devon's not in WWE anymore either. It's a producer. So
he's not in WWE anymore.
I don't believe so. I don't think so.
It could happen. What's your lemon of the week, Mr. Anderson?
I don't think so yet. Did you see the video that he posted?
It's a topic. I have it as a banner. We need to go all in on. Okay. I can't. It's so funny. I love him. I love R-Truth. Does Pat see Sasha Banks in WWE or Mercedes Moné in AEW?
Say it again.
Mercedes Moné.
Thank you.
In AEW. All right. Well, I mean, you kind of tease it there because what's going on? I thought Mercedes Moné was going to AEW, but apparently it has been reported from SRS that there are no active plans internally for Mercedes Moné.
The same thing is being said about WWE. But
I don't.
I have a guess. I have a guess. I see her going back to WWE because, one, if she was going to go to AEW, the hype for when that should have happened has passed. I'm not saying that
train's long gone.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it wouldn't be exciting for people anymore.
Yeah.
But like, however many months ago it was that it was being rumored that she was going to be the mystery partner and whatever, that was the time to do it, and they didn't do it. Secondly, I feel like her career outside of WWE hasn't been what she wanted it to be, like her wrestling career, because like she had those few matches in like New Japan and whatever, but like
Did
no
Japan.
one's really talking about her like what she's doing and oh my god, this match and she's doing this and she's doing that. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I'm saying like, you know, when Cody was in the indies after he left WWE, he was everywhere, like literally everywhere, doing all sorts of indie shows all over the world, and like everyone was talking about how incredible he was looking and all of this, and you aren't hearing anything about Mercedes. So to me it feels like if she was gonna go to AEW, she would have already been there. And then we're getting into that point where, you know, there's rumors of her being involved in the Bailey storyline. We're getting towards Mania. So if like she's going to come back, like what better place to come back than before or at Mania? And she knows that Triple H is her guy. So if anyone's going to treat her right and book her right, it's going to be him. So
you saw what he said about her with Ari, the interview with Ari. What's his name? The unbiased journalist.
Yeah, I forget what his last name is.
I forget
Ariel
Awani.
Yeah. I didn't see what he said. I know that
Triple H
wasn't
very
like
high
the door was
praising him.
open or something. Yeah.
Yeah, he spoke very highly of her in a way that I haven't seen him speak that highly of someone that's not in the main event picture. And whatever.
Yeah.
Like
we could use her on Raw, dude.
Oh, they could utilize her, and you know the way he spoke about her and said how talented she is. It's a new era, and that guy's in charge. That's the guy that's in charge of your future. I'd rather trust him than Tony Khan.
And that's what I was gonna say is you have to look at the difference in the women's divisions.
Oh my God.
There's a reason why people are constantly talking about Tony not caring about the women's division in AEW, that he only cares about certain women or they're not given a lot of time. There's a reason Britt Baker was saying something, you know what I mean? Like,
she's pissed.
And like, that's not at all an issue in WWE right now. You know, if anything, the more problematic aspect of the women's division is the tag team championships. What they are trying, I mean, even if I don't agree with everything, like they're trying to be better with that. Yeah. But like, obviously, if Mercedes returns to WWE as Sasha Banks, she is not going to be stuck in a tag team, which was one of her biggest issues, was because of how she was treated as a tag team competitor with Naomi. So if she wants to be a top of the women's division, if she wants to be potentially main eventing a Mania, if she wants to be involved in storylines that people give a damn about, then WWE and probably Raw is her best chance for that. And so to me, it's like, if that's what you want your career to be, if that's how you want your career to end, that makes the most sense.
Yeah. And the only good aspect about the AEW women's division right now are Toni Storm, timeless Toni Storm, and the Japanese wrestlers, Hikaru Shida, and there's one more that they're just so good in the ring. I find them very entertaining to watch. So I'm not going to skip their matches. But everyone else, I'm just like I don't care. I'd rather see Ruby Soho and Angelo, what's his face? I want to see that kind of backstage thing kind of get storyline come out, whatever. I mean, I don't care about Saraya anymore.
I don't think anyone does. I don't mean that I don't mean that like as harshly as it sounds.
No,
but this is what I'm saying. It's like this happens with everybody, and I don't mean that it only happens in AEW, but it feels like it seems like it happens more in AEW, and maybe that's just from an outsider's perspective, but it feels like when someone is really hyped and it's like when they go there and it's like, holy crap, you know, like Edge, Adam Copeland, that hype train has come and passed already. Like it was exciting for like people were really excited that he was around for like, you know, when he first got there, maybe the first couple weeks. Otherwise, I never see anything about him like on my timeline from people who are talking about AEW. Yeah. And it's like I said, I follow a lot of people who either report on AEW or they watch the product. So like if I'm not seeing anything about people for weeks and weeks and weeks, I'm like, oh, okay. It's like,
Yeah.
the same thing happened with Punk. Like Punk was really excited. It was really exciting at first, and then you weren't really hearing about him other than the negative stuff that was going on. And so it's like, that's another thing that I think Mercedes should consider. Like, other than them having a weak women's division right now, not because the women are bad, but because they're not putting the effort into it. You also don't want to have a really exciting return or debut, I'm sorry, and then no one cares about you in 2 weeks. Like, I don't know. And it feels like WWE is more of the place that she'd want to be too, given the fact that they're kind of doing more of the Attitude Era style of things. Like, it feels like that's what she'd like,
It's right up her alley. I forgot
Yeah.
to mention Chris Statlander. I have to put her in there. She is fantastic. Julia Hart as well. Willow Nightingale and Sky Blue.
Well-
Here's the thing. That seems like it is the B team. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that that's going to be their core women's division, their pillars, if you want to use jargon. They're pillars of the women's division in a few years. However, to get there, you have to have some heavy hitters at the top. Mariah May coming in with Toni Storm's a great, a good addition.
But
everyone else is just like.
But Mariah May is not a name like Mercedes
everyone's
Moné.
gonna know.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, you would have to be
niche.
very in tune with the indies and New Japan and like that kind of stuff, like to know who she was. Like, you would have to know about her from Instagram or whatever. And it's like, I knew about her because I've known about her for years, but it's like, that's not the same as Saraya or Mercedes Moné or whoever going, you know what I mean? Where they do have a more worldwide recognition because people know who they are. It's not this. It doesn't hit the same when it's Mariah, No,
you're right on the nose. Right on the nose. We jumped over a little bit, but yeah, AEW losing money. Apparently, it's been reported that they will be losing, I think, $74 million at the year's end. And I don't know. I find this interesting. This is kind of just an easy headline for a broader conversation. That there's a lot of negativity floating around AEW right now, and it feels that they're trying to do too much too fast to keep up.
And that's what we've been saying for so long. And I think too, it's like, I think some of it is, I mean, probably not some of it, a lot of it is going to come from Tony's inexperience from running a wrestling company and then not hiring the proper people to help navigate. Because this is why other companies have come in hot and then floundered not long after, and then they don't exist anymore. It's because they didn't have the experience and understanding of how to run a wrestling company. And I'm not saying I do. I'm not saying if you threw me into Tony's shoes that I would do anything better, but I'm not trying to open up a wrestling company with no experience and then have nobody around me that understands how to do it either. So I think, this feels like this was bound to happen, especially if you think about this year. They lost Cody last year. They lost Jade. They lost who's the other one? Why am I forgetting the other one?
One Bill Phil.
Oh yeah, Punk. Duh. But then there's also the rumblings of other big names leaving, like Ricky Starks might be coming. Cody, we'll talk about MJF. Like, it's not good if we're having, first of all, a year that you're being criticized because your audiences are smaller and smaller, it seems like, every single week. The fact that one of your programs barely has you're basically almost paying people to show up to Collision at this point. And we shouldn't be hearing that some of your top stars might be jumping ship. Like, that is like, has to be one of the worst case scenarios, because it's already pretty bad that you lost 3 big people in your company. And now there's rumors that some other people might be headed out too. Like, that just makes the whole thing worse.
I also have to correct myself. It's not 74, it's 34.
Okay.
34.
Still, 34 million is still a lot of money, but
it is still a lot of money. I didn't want people throwing that around.
I think that they're just, it's like, I think, it's just, it seems to me like the usual issue that people run into is they're spending more money than they're making. and I'm sure a lot of that is how much money they're paying the talent. I'm sure that's a
money
lot.
they're paying the talent.
Yeah.
It has to do with All In. I mean, they already booked All In for next year. I thought that was a huge jump.
Well, it's because they're trying to make it like their WrestleMania, and I get it, but like, why not wait until you're actually making like a ton of money before you worry about making a Mania? Because like WWE didn't start a WrestleMania right away. Like it was years later that they finally were like, oh, let's try and do this, and then they keep doing it. It's not like they'd started at year 3, and they were like, okay, let's see how it goes, and it's like, nah, like it's just not smart. And for Tony being a businessman, it's kind of shocking, but
it's a lot of numbers of revenue that get taken from different companies. Warner Brothers actually takes in a majority of AEW's revenue at $68 million per year because of Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision. And then Eurosport, like all the other ones, ITV. Wait, ITV Fight TV and ITV, those type of streaming services, they take like 7-8 million from them.
But see, then you're not
they're not profitable, but I mean,
you're
they're
not
not gonna be profitable till like 2025.
It's just, I don't know. It's just crazy to me for someone who is supposed to be touted as like a millionaire businessman, like blah blah blah, and it's like you don't know how to like manage money. You don't know how to make money without losing more than that. Like it's just bizarre, but I feel like that's kind of what we've been seeing a lot more of lately with rich people. Like they don't know how to actually sustain that success without it like coming with a lot of bumps,
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So he does say, I do believe WB signs to WWE early next year around February. Yeah. Is this a topic we're talking about or no?
I'm looking to see if I screwed that up. No, it's not.
Okay, so we can talk about it real quick. So
Let's talk about it.
If people are not aware, there have been alleged conversations between Warner Brothers, Discovery, and WWE to possibly bring Raw to TNT or TBS, which happens to be the same network that AEW is shown on. So, first of all, I am here for the pettiness. Like, I know that doesn't necessarily have a connection. Like, I'm not sure. I'm sure Triple H isn't sitting there being like, yeah, let's go here because we want to kick AEW off. It's like whoever will give them. Yeah, it's like whoever gives them the most money for, or close to what they want, and then like promises the most, I don't know, out of the deal. But that would be significant news for both companies if they do sign with Warner Brothers, because that's like a death sentence for AEW. They would have to be like scrambling to try and find another network who's going to want to sign them after they were just dropped because they weren't making enough money for them. And then you can't necessarily move to a streaming service because then you're going to cut your audience like in half or more, people aren't going to sign up for a random streaming service just because that's where you are. And a lot of people don't have the money to do that. So I find this very interesting.
I find it I'm an interested bystander. Like I have no strong feelings one way or the other because I just want the product to be good at the end of the day. But I love hearing these reports and these back and forth battles because this type of stuff is fascinating.
But also, wouldn't TNT or TBS, that allows them to kind of be a little bit more PG-13?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
So that would be a huge move too. I mean, I know they're still trying to be kid friendly, and I don't think that they would necessarily like go back to how they were, 20 something years ago.
Yeah.
But I do think it allows them a little bit more freedom, especially when it comes to promos and heel work, which I think some people have taken issue with because, I mean, talking about CM Punk recently, people felt like his promo was watered down from what he could normally be saying or what people got used to him being able to say. So that would be huge too.
It would be.
And interesting.
I would like that.
Yeah.
That would be interesting. Oh, Junior joined. What's up, Junior? Where's the comment I wanted to hit? I think Raw will end up on FX. That's my opinion.
Is FX still part of Fox? Or are they different?
I feel like that makes sense. Yeah.
If it's on
right?
Fox, that makes sense because SmackDown's there, but SmackDown
Yeah.
might be moving too. So I don't know.
There's a lot of shakeup in the TV stuff, and I don't know a whole lot about it because I've been too focused on the product itself. But
I just hate the idea of them possibly being like on completely different networks and like whatever. Like you get so used to Raw being on USA that it's like the possible change of that is kind of like,
yeah,
yeah, I don't want to,
no, it's
but
the resisting of change. I get that.
yeah. I would like to
Nope.
think that Triple H will make the right decision though.
Oh yes.
Especially because, we didn't completely love the Endeavor situation.
Which
So
did you see who their brother company is now or sister company? WWE.
no.
Impact is now under Endeavor.
Oh, I know. People were wondering if they're gonna try and like buy them.
Oh, it is what I'm saying. Wrestling is so back. You just need to strap in. Like we're gonna see some crazy shit.
It would be a smart move by WWE, but like buy Impact and still let them do their thing. But make sure Tony doesn't get it because Tony's trying to monopolize the wrestling industry. He wants to buy everything that's like not WWE, and he doesn't realize that that's not a good idea. You can't be like talking about buying New Japan, buying Impact, and doing all this. That's like actually bad. So if WWE was going to do it or Endeavor, whatever, I don't see it as a bad idea, especially because Impact is doing really well as of late.
Yeah, shout out Impact. Honestly, they don't get the credit that they deserve. I mean, the match between Will Ospreay and Mike Bailey was incredible. Go watch that. Bully Ray is still actually doing some great heel work. Jordan Grace, that girl is a freak athlete, and I mean that in the most positive of terms. I mean, she's incredible. And then the other people that are doing it. I just don't watch a lot. I try. I put it on the board to watch it, and then it comes on actually because YouTube TV has like the Impact channel. And after Raw, SmackDown, whatever I watch on DVR ends, it just goes right into the Impact channel. So I'm just watching stuff like, it's good. It takes a lot for me to actually just keep it there and not change the channel after wrestling's over.
And business is good when they're bringing TNA back.
Yeah, they're bringing legit TNA back. Like that's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, what a time, Sarah, to be a fan. So awesome. And what a time because of this man.
Judgment Day. You spelled it wrong.
How did I spell Judgment Day wrong?
You spelled judgment wrong.
Is there no E in Judgment Day?
No.
Well, I didn't get those genes in my family. So
I got it.
This is spell check. Yeah. But yeah, is he?
I think he's still in it. I mean, obviously he's not an official member, but he posted that video of like the green screen of him in Australia with Rhea and Dom, which was hilarious. And this is after they just beat him up in the middle of the ring on Raw. So to me, it's like, yeah, no, he's still gonna be around, which I'm happy about it because Judgment Day is also kind of in flux right now where it's like they don't really have them doing anything, which is kind of annoying because like obviously there's multiple champions within the Judgment Day, so it feels like there should be plenty for them to be doing right now. But if they're not going to have them have anything immediately, then it's funny to have them involved in a storyline with R-Truth, who just has to stand there and is hilarious and entertaining. So
he doesn't do anything. He doesn't have to do anything.
No. So and I like this because I think that this was an unexpected move when thinking about how R-Truth was going to return. Like I don't think anyone was like, oh, they're gonna have him involved in the Judgment Day, So I feel like that makes it an added like a bonus, I guess.
It's something that you would feel that would be forced. Like they would try to force him into it. But it's so genuine of him invading the clubhouse.
Yeah.
Going out to watch their match and like actually and then giving his thoughts on why JD McDonough should be kicked out of Judgment Day. Like it is, he's doing it so well that I want to keep this facade until a payoff of him being like the host of Mania or the host of something like
did he
ambassador.
Who did this with DX?
Hornswoggle.
Okay, I was like, there's other people too that they just like decided they were a part of like DX and whatever. I'm like, I can't remember, but that's the
Well,
thing.
everyone and their mother was a part of the NWO at one point.
I know, but that wasn't because they wanted that. But
I mean, you
shout
did
out to
want to
the three. Okay. But yeah, no, I like this. I think it's funny. And like I said, like if they're not going to be doing anything with the Judgment Day, then might as well give them something entertaining. You know, if you're just because there's only so many weeks in a row on Raw that you can have them having a meeting in the clubhouse and they're mad at each other and it's like, what's going to happen? I mean, that's not fun to watch week after week after week. So at least if you're throwing R-Truth into it, it's like, okay, what's going to happen this week? Like, what silly thing is he going to say? And how are they going to react? And is Rhea going to accept him? You know what I mean? Like, that seems more
That's
fun.
what mommy says matters.
Yeah. And he was like, yeah. It's funny.
Mommy.
I know she broke the internet this morning, which is funny. It's like you guys have never seen a woman in a bathing suit before, or her.
But it's yeah, and I know obviously it's the easy answer of like, yeah, it's in a swimsuit, whatever. But like, I hate to use this word because it definitely is overused in the IWC, but she got that aura around her.
Well, no,
like,
I know that's why girls are super into her too. Like, there's even like straight girls that are like into Rhea. Because that's like a thing too. I mean, it depends on what you believe, but there are some women that are like, oh, she's really hot. And it's like she's a straight woman attracted to another straight woman. But
she got that
thing. She got that thing, you know?
Dang. I mean, just it's unbelievable how over she is.
And
like,
dude, she's like 26. So she has so much time ahead of her. And she's already this big. Like, that's really awesome. Actually,
yeah.
And Triple H spoke super highly of her after Survivor Series or the one before that? I think it was the one before that, Crown Jewel. Yes. He was saying like how she's just a star, like she just has that it factor, and I think that's what you mean. Like she's just got that vibe, like. And it just kind of came out of nowhere. It's almost like the second she joined Judgment Day, dyed her hair black, it was like the game changed. Like it was it was the right move at the right time. And then how she's progressed, because, you know, at that point, they were like in suits and ties, you know, that was like the direction they were going in.
Yeah.
With Judgment Day. And now it's kind of become their own version after Edge, because once Edge was fully removed. But they've made it their own thing, and it's lasted over a year. So like that's pretty cool. And she's just rose to stardom, which is fun to see too.
She's gonna they should really have her main event Elimination Chamber.
Oh, she probably is, because it's in her home.
It's
country.
in Perth. They were there with her and Dom.
Mm-hmm.
It's gotta love dirty. Oh, I like this comment. They should do Dom versus R-Truth and the New Year's show.
Maybe
Dominic Mysterio deserves all the credit in the world. That man is the workhorse right now.
Yeah, I think he had the third most matches or something this year. That's why, you know, all these people are talking about like who's the MVP in WWE of 2023. I feel like Dominic has to be in the top three. You know,
yeah.
And it's something that a lot of people are praising him for. Like I was just watching a clip from Impulsive when Seth Rollins was on it, and they were talking about Dominic, and Logan was saying he couldn't believe what he was watching, where it's like he just holds the microphone and he's like, you can't hear anything. He's like, there's no way he can hear anything. Like it's deafening. And Seth was just going on about how like that's incredible. Like he's talked and like he's a sponge. And he's like, you tell him something and then he does it the next time that he's out there. And he's like, it's incredible to see, because I get why, you know, he's not going to be everyone's favorite. Like, I'm not saying he's one of my favorites, but he's in Judgment Day. And I love Judgment Day. But I don't think people are giving him enough credit. It is not easy to get an entire arena night after night after night to boo you out of the building for as long as that's been going on for him. You can maybe get that for a week or two, you know, max, maybe when the heat is hot, whatever you're doing. But for it to be months and months and months and months, and he's been so far removed from a storyline with his dad, which was easy to get to hate him.
Yeah, of course, you know? You're gonna have that. Yeah. Exactly.
It's like he's been incredible, and a lot of it is like he doesn't even have to really do anything. He doesn't have to say that much. You can't even,
No.
you don't even remember what he's saying because you can't hear it.
I actually can't think of a quote that
I
he
can't
said
either.
that's like been tweet graphic worthy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's
Yeah.
just he's Dirty Dom and you hate Dirty Dom. Like that's
Mm.
it. But he's done it so well.
Yeah.
And not only that, like he's unbelievable in the ring.
He's gotten
He's
so good.
unbelievable.
But that was the thing too, like this, I mean, I think that the Judgment Day was beneficial to the entire group. But I feel like, you know, not with bias aside, because I could say for Finn, I think it was the best situation for Rhea and Dom specifically, because Rhea was still not, she wasn't new on the main roster, but she still hadn't really like developed her thing yet, other than like, oh, like she's big and strong, and then she wears like the leather and she has the spikes, like she's an ass kicker, right? But that, like, that, okay, like that's it, you know. And with Dominic, it was like, okay, Rey Mysterio's kid, like that was it, you know. And it was like there needed to be more levels to him, because if you are trying to get somebody to separate themselves from whoever their relative is that's a gigantic star, this was the best way to do that, because now you look at Dominic Mysterio, you're not looking at, oh, that's Ray's kid. Like they're polar opposites.
Polar opposite people now.
And he took advantage of this opportunity, and you can tell because he's gotten so much better in the ring, and he got put with great people who are great teachers, you know, like,
yes.
so it is really cool to see. And it, like, and for Rhea too, like this is what made her into a huge star, because who knows where she would have been at this point if she was never in Judgment Day right now, you know.
It's crazy to think. To think. On the Christmas episode of Raw, have R-Truth dress as Santa Claus and have Rhea sit in his lap. R-Truth tells her Judgment Day's been naughty and gives her coal. That would be.
It would be funny, but they're not having a real episode of Raw, so Triple H is actually giving them like 10 days off. So I know. So we're gonna have to figure out a schedule that week, because I think that the Raw is gonna be like the best of or something like that.
Yeah,
and like SmackDown's not gonna be real either, I don't think. But yeah, that would be funny if they were working.
We'll think of things. That would be.
Yeah.
Or they could do it back. Maybe they could do a like social media clip with it. Who knows? We gotta manifest that a little bit. All right, what's the next topic up here? Oh, well, I mean, we did already kind of bring it up a little bit, but Cody Rhodes went on a podcast show and said that he believes one day MJF is WWE bound, and I don't disagree with that.
I think even a blind man could see this. I mean,
he's too big of a star.
I mean, that is true, but I would also say, you know, I've talked about this before, I think, where there are going to be some people who understand the constraints that come with being in AEW, and going to WWE, how much more that will project them forward. And MJF is going to reach that ceiling in AEW fairly soon, because there's only so much that you can do after you've been like every champion and you've been all sorts of different characters. And then it's like, okay, now what? Plus, he is the epitome of an Attitude Era kid who grew up wanting to be in WWE because he loved the company, he loved the business, he idolized wrestlers in WWE. He went to Kurt Hawkins wrestling school. He tried out for Tough Enough. He was a background security guard in a WWE segment.
The Samoa Joe thing is
so
the best.
You know, and it's like, so I feel like, yeah, it's going to happen eventually. Fortunately, he's only 27, so he has plenty of time. Like, he doesn't have to come here next year. But I do think, yeah, like Cody's gonna have more pull with a couple of these people. They're gonna see how he's been handled in WWE, and who better to convince them that the grass kind of is a little bit greener than Cody, who used to literally go on AEW television weekly and saying, fuck that other company. You know, like if he's then telling you, no, this is the place to be now, you're going to fit in perfectly. We already saw it with Jade. Jade literally went to WWE because of Cody, basically. It's inevitable. MJF is going to be there. Ricky Starks is going to be there. Who knows who else?
To me, the end goal for MJF will be Hollywood. He's just
Yeah,
destined to be a movie star.
yeah.
The easiest way to launch that through wrestling is WWE. Look at
Mhm.
what it did for the OG, my tribal chief, Sarah, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Look at what it
Mhm.
did for John Cena. I mean, make fun of him all you want, but The Miz is low key a Hollywood star, maybe not on the silver screen. Is that for
Mhm.
movies? Silver
Mhm.
screen, but for reality shows, celebrity guest appearances. Miz is a 3 or 4 time MLB celebrity all-star. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like it's stuff like that is you got to think that's where you're going. That's the avenue if you go to WWE, not AEW.
and Bianca and Montez are getting their own
Oh my
reality
god,
show, and it's
I'm
like,
actually gonna watch that.
and I don't mean that they're not like atop the food chain in WWE, but they're not like the Miz and Maurice. They're
They're pretty
not
close.
John Cena. But you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
they're putting money, they're putting money into these two. And it's like, okay, they're not up at that level of being a legend yet, where it's like, yeah, of course John Cena is gonna get that, and of course so and so is gonna get that. So to me, it's like, I don't know. I think that because of Triple H, the influence of Triple H, and I think the influence of John Cena, and then or I'm sorry, Cody Rhodes. And then the more, whenever Jade debuts and like starts to like build a career in WWE, she's going to be an advocate too. Like, why would other people not listen to these people who started or had been in AEW for however long, jump ship, and now they're thriving? Like, why wouldn't you listen to them? Like, you're going to listen to them more than the people who have been in WWE their whole career, basically, because of course they're going to tell you it's fantastic,
Yeah,
but
they don't
they
know
haven't
anything different.
experienced anything else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's inevitable,
Mhm.
and it would be a move that really connects pop culture. I think MJF could be that guy that could really get the casual wrestling fans of years ago to hop back on. I truly
This
believe
would
that.
be like almost like a death sentence for AEW,
I
especially
don't
if
know
this
if it'd be a
happens.
death sentence because
I
they'd
don't
still be a wrestling company, like
I
a
don't mean, I'm
wrestling.
saying if you're going to lose another top guy like that,
It makes it hard to recruit. I do give you
that's
that.
what I
It's
mean.
gonna make
Like,
them hard to
because
recruit.
if you keep building people up to be giant stars in your company, and then once they reach that peak, they're like, okay, I've gotten what I wanted out of this. Now I got to go to the major leagues to get even bigger. Like that's it
They
almost feels
need,
like
yeah.
they're like NXT almost. It's like people are going to go there, get to where they want to be, develop that star power, and then jump. Like that's not a good look for
It's
them.
gonna be more guys like John Moxley and
Oh,
Daniel Bryan.
they'll be doing
Those guys, well, those types of superstars of the future. Those types of wrestlers for the future. That's where they'll thrive and become the
yeah,
top
yeah,
guy in wrestling in AEW, where WWE is really gonna separate themselves in the next few years as
yeah.
the top of the top, not monopolize and not say, oh, we want it all. But when you think of wrestling, they want you to think WWE.
Well, and MJF is getting to that level just like Jade was, where it's like, okay, the next step has to be WWE. Like it
You're
only
not
makes
going to,
sense.
yeah.
Well, and a lot of it, I mean, is because like with MJF, it's similar to like what we've said with LA Knight, where they grew up in that era and idolized those people, and a lot of how they are as a wrestling persona is based off of what they saw because of the influence. So it's like a lot of what they do is like stamped with WWE. So it's like they have to eventually get there then. Like you don't do all of that work to not get there.
What do you think of that comment? Do you think any WWE superstar moves to AEW? Mr. Anderson answered before us, saying that he
Mm,
says he at least thinks Charlotte could
I don't
bounce.
think so. I don't think her husband being there is enough. I think if anything, we see him jump back to WWE.
Her husband doesn't want to be there.
Yeah. Where? AEW?
Yeah, he doesn't want to
Yeah.
be there.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, she's not going to do that because I think one, she would not be in the same position in AEW that she is in WWE, because like she is like a legend because she's a Flair. So like she already has
Yeah.
that going for her. And then I think it would be a bad move. I mean, plus she's getting close to 40. Like she's not a spring chicken anymore. Like it's not. She's not unhappy where she's at either. So it's like she doesn't really have any reason to do that. And like I said, I don't think Andrade would be enough. Like you said, he doesn't want to be there. So I think he could come back to WWE, especially now that they're doing all this stuff with the LWO. He would be amazing in the LWO. And same thing with like Dragon Lee. Bring back fucking Andrade.
I think Andrade would be better in Legado del Fantasma.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And then you have Dragon Lee go to LWO. And then you have some. See, that already is a better situation for Andrade. And just wrestling in general, where if you have two Latino factions going at each other, that produces that would be some incredible in-ring work. Like,
and if you want, put him in NXT first. NXT is not like a demotion anymore.
No,
like,
it's not a demotion.
It's like we said, Humberto and Angel Garza were on the main roster, then brought back, and then brought back and brought back. And now they're supposed to be backstage at SmackDown tonight because they're rumored to be joining forces with Santos Escobar. And the only reason why that's happening is because of how much of a heel they've become since being in NXT. So like I could see that with Andrade, and it wouldn't be bad. He was in NXT. He was huge in NXT. So go back there, get the crowd familiar with you again. Mm-hmm. And I mean, Triple H is actually caring about that style of wrestling again. Vince didn't give a shit unless your name was Rey Mysterio, but those times have passed. So, and he's cool, and he's different. He's not like the same, like he doesn't have the same style of wrestling as as you would expect from like a luchador or something. You know what I mean? Like because he's bigger. He's a bigger guy.
All right, Mr. Anderson is on timeout. Okay, yeah, you are in timeout.
Did you see that clip of Alberto? He was.
What do you mean? Did I see? Of course I did.
Yeah, it's like, there was like 3 people there, and it's like this is a former world champion, dude. But that's what he deserves, though. Like he's a POS, allegedly.
Not alleged.
I don't want to. I mean,
I'll take the brunt of it.
Legally, I'm saying allegedly, he's a terrible person.
I have a family of lawyers. He's a terrible person. Yeah, I am not dealing with it. It's so effing funny, and I don't. You know me. You know the champ. I don't laugh at people's demise. I only do when karma comes back around, and slaps them as hard as Gunther right across the face. I just don't care. I just laugh at it. I don't know.
He did enough damage, so it's like that's where he's at. Like that's what he has to do now.
He ruined my girl Saraya. I had the biggest crush on Saraya Paige, whatever, when she was first in WWE. Still did. I still do, low key. She dates lead singer of
Ronnie Radke. Yeah.
Yeah, of my favorite band, Falling in Reverse. I screw you. Let's literally all I gotta say, screw you. All right, so King of Razor wants us to answer his questions, Sarah.
Okay.
So for Pitts, or questions for Sarah and Pitts.
Okay.
Do you think faces get tired of being over? Example, the Rollins singing.
I think it depends on the person. For me, I would assume Rollins, no, because he's been all sorts of characters. And so I'm sure it's just like easy for him to go out there and do that and just like soak it in. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I think if it was somebody who, John Cena, I could see John Cena being like, oh my God, like not that he hated the fans, but like he probably just wanted to be able to do something different. Like, can I be a little edgy? And like we saw glimpses of that, like, and with Rollins, I feel like, no, not right now. We might get to a point where he is kind of sick of it, but I would say he's been enough all over the spectrum as far as being a character that I don't think he's there yet.
Yeah, I'd agree that I don't think he's annoyed with it. I think they do get tired of it. I mean, Stardust.
Yeah.
I think fans
And
liked
Stardust could have been so good. He was
it.
so good at the beginning, but it shouldn't have
Yeah,
lasted as long as it did.
it shouldn't have. And Cody hated it, and he said that you just want to make it work. I think it did work, but it didn't work how he wanted it to. The fans like Stardust as the comedy act, but it's Cody's job to make Stardust the legit contender, and
Mhm.
you're really pigeonholing yourself there.
Yeah.
And then for Sarah, I'll answer this too, but for the men's thing, what women wrestlers do you look up to for beauty?
Uh, The only woman wrestler that I ever was like obsessed with and wanted to look like was Trish Stratus. Like when they said that she was 5'7", I dreamt about being 5'7". She's not 5'7". She's like 5'3" or something. So I don't know
Yeah,
why they
she's
said
not.
that.
I don't think she's bad.
But
I'm
like in the
5.
video games, they said she was like 5'7". So I was like, I want to be 5'7". Like I was so upset when I was like done growing, like as a teenager, that I wasn't 5'7". Like it
Mhm.
was because I just always thought she was so beautiful, and she still is. So it was always Trish for me. Like there was other girls that were really pretty, but I just always wanted to look like Trish. And I think it was because of that time period. Like she was similar to like Pamela Anderson, and I loved Pamela Anderson on Baywatch for different reasons than the boys. But again, she was so pretty, and I wanted to look like her. And it's the same thing with
Yeah.
Trish.
I mean, I could say I wanted to look like John Cena, but what kid didn't?
Yeah. Well, it's
I
like
mean,
what
I
kids didn't
love
want to be Hulk Hogan? Like lots of kids wanted to be Hulk Hogan.
eat those vitamins, say
Mhm.
your prayers.
I wanted to look like
I
Scott Steiner.
I
Muscles on
wanted
muscles,
I
baby.
wanted to look like The Rock for a while. I'm obsessed with The Rock. Still low key am, but
Well, he's in better shape now than he
oh
ever
my
was.
god,
So
he looks so he's a freak of nature. He's just not a human. It's the best. Samoans are awesome. Are there any mid-card heels right now? Because I can't think of any. Bronson Reed.
I kind of feel like most of the heels are mid-card heels, like I just said the other day. I feel like there aren't any that are like over the top heels right now. And it's just like I understand who's supposed to be like top-notch heels, like Gunther and Judgment Day and like Roman. But I feel like Roman is the only one who is like a heel. But at the same time, listen to him get cheered tonight, guys. Like it's defeating the purpose. We're supposed to hate him. Like, and he's gonna get cheered. They're all gonna acknowledge him. Like, and that's the thing is like, I yearn for a heel that gets booed no matter what. Like more than Dominic, like a standalone guy.
Yeah,
Like,
because Dominic, it's fun. You're doing it because it's fun to boo Dom. You're
right.
not doing it because Dom sucks. You're doing it because
Or he's given you, he hasn't given you a real reason to hate him other than
he's
you're like,
just
oh, he's
dirty
just like an
Dom.
annoying little kid or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, but there's no like, vintage Stone Cold Steve Austin where you're like, F this guy, or like the NWO where people are literally throwing trash in the ring at them. Like, there's nobody that like evokes that feeling for people.
No,
And I
there's
yearn
not.
for that because I love heels. And so I love when they do these like these things, like evil things. And that's why I said I feel like there's something with Triple H where he like can't do it or something. Like, I don't know, like he doesn't.
Which is funny because he was the ultimate heel.
Yeah, I hated him plenty as a kid. So that's why it's like I don't know why we're kind of like taking a step back from going that full in on making someone like hateable.
Do you think it's because they can't? Because the fans just want if they okay, this is gonna be kind of convoluted, but bear with me. Do you think because it's not that he can't do it in molding a heel, it's that he does it so well, and with the knowledge of wrestling fans now, they want to see that, so then they're cheering for it, so you're getting like an opposite reaction.
I mean, I think maybe, but I think like if we're looking at the Judgment Day, it's like because of Rhea Ripley, they don't boo them. It's like because they love mommy.
I would,
If
yeah,
you
but
if you remove her from Judgment Day, and I don't say you should, I think it would be bigger. They would get more. They would elicit a bigger response. like a booing, I mean, because they wouldn't have the hot chick to cheer for. You know what I mean? Like,
I
um,
mean,
I still don't know that they've done enough. Like vintage Randy Orton, dude, kissing
there's
Stephanie
nobody
McMahon.
like Randy Orton anymore.
And I'm not
punking
saying,
people in the
yeah, and
face.
I'm not
There's
saying
just
that there
no
is,
one.
but like Randy Orton is a legend, and like, but there's nobody at that level, and that's what I want. Like, I want bald Randy Orton, some like a bunch of them. You know what I mean? Like, I want like those types, those types of heels. You know, it's kissing Stephanie McMahon with a handcuffed Triple H in the corner. Like, that's what I want.
That was villainous.
And we're missing that, and I think that it's like kind of sad, because then it's like, yeah, there's a ton of baby faces to cheer for, but why are you cheering for them other than the fact that you like them? Like, they should have an evil partner to make you want to cheer for them more. But it's like, when the evil guy wins or they lose, like, no one cares, because okay, like, I don't know.
All right, we still have a couple things
Let's pick and choose.
Let's pick and choose. I won't do the CM Punk NXT thing
Okay.
because I do want to talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
It's more, I would say, pressing that it's reported that CM Punk does not change the WWE's Royal Rumble plans after being signed, which is a good sign for all of us that main events don't happen in December.
But true, but also I don't buy it. Honestly, no, because they said they decided it 3 months ago. No, you didn't.
No, I could see the Royal Rumble winner.
Maybe, but it's not set in stone 3 months ago. Like, you're going. The thing is like, when I say that, with decisions like this in wrestling aren't set in stone, it's because, one, they're not, but two, you also have to go and adjust what you're doing based on the audience's reaction. So like, what is hot in August is not going to be hot in December, not necessarily. So like, you choose, let's say we chose Sami Zayn in August, right, to be the Royal Rumble winner. Why would you pick him now? So that's what I mean. It's like, it could get to a point where you didn't know that Punk was going to return. So you can't rule Punk out completely from winning the Royal Rumble, even if I believe that should be the case. You kind of can't, because if you're going to be like teasing him versus Rollins, and maybe you have plans to keep the title on Rollins through Mania, like, you can't rule out the possibility of throwing a wrench into the mix and having Punk win the Rumble. Like, that's stupid, because whatever you decided 3 months ago might not make sense come January. Might not like be the top story for Mania. So I think it's a good sign, for all of us that don't want Punk to win the Rumble, because I think that's stupid. And obviously, like, one of his biggest issues was Batista coming back and winning the Rumble, which would be the complete fucking irony if he did the exact same thing. But yeah, I don't think Punk should be in consideration for this anyway. So if it stays that way, then I'm all for it, because then I feel like that we really are moving in a different direction, and Triple H really is like understanding that you can't just throw this type of story together because Punk just returned, and so we might as well have him win the Rumble. Like, he needs to understand that's such an old school mentality that people are sick of, because even if it was Punk, people would love it because they love Punk. But those who are kind of just like me, that's kind of like, okay, I don't really like him, but like, whatever, like, they're going to be upset. And I feels like there's going to be more of those people that are upset, because they're the same people that were upset about Batista winning, or whoever coming back and just winning the Rumble.
I was pissed. I was livid about Batista coming back and winning the Rumble. Yeah. I was number one guy that CM Punk should have won the Rumble and went to Mania. Like, oh, no. Yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be like the ultimate irony if he were down with it. But I mean, he might be in a headspace still where he wants to put himself first. But like I said, like we've said a million times, he doesn't need to win the Royal Rumble to main event Mania. And as we saw, the women's Royal Rumble winner didn't main event. So like, that doesn't mean that the men has to.
Yeah, exactly.
So 100%. Yeah.
All right. And I've switched things up here, Sarah, so that we could talk about the important stuff here in the 1, 2, 3 count. Starting off with something that I know you wanted to talk about. I got rid of some other things, but it's been reported. Let me get the actual quote up here that you sent me via Twitter DM messages. Where is it here? All right. Where is it? According to sources, or someone said this, Ibu, I think his name is, of Wrestling Purists. Like I said in Saturday, CM Punk's long-term goal is to succeed Shawn Michaels in NXT. Was told he was buzzing last night, didn't sleep, and flew to Orlando. He'll be doing a lot of observing tonight, seeing how things work over there in terms of TV production.
I actually, I don't know if this is surprising, but I'm actually like for this. And the reason being is
Welcome.
I mean, it's okay. So I'm for the idea of it. I don't know how he would do, so I can't be like, oh well, history has proven that like, you know, he would be good at this. I feel like this is kind of given him like a new lease on life in a way, like maybe trying to. I mean, he knows that he's getting to an age where he's not going to be able to have an in-ring career for much longer. Not because he wants it to end, but his body's not going to be able to do it for a whole lot longer. And I think that if this is a goal that he wants, and that maybe in a way they're entertaining it, because they did say in these reports too that the NXT people are basically like, it's an open door policy with him, like he can come and go as he pleases, and so Shawn Michaels is like willing for him to be there and like work with the talent and whatever, like not in an official capacity, but enough
mentor,
yeah, but obviously enough to like understand what's going on and whatever, develop some relationships. But I think that might be, I don't think it might be. I think it is going to be a big reason why this run with WWE might actually work for him. Because if he has a bigger goal in mind and it's something as serious as running an entire branch of the WWE, then he's probably going to try and actually be a changed person on his best behavior, like actually trying to take advantage of the opportunity that they are giving him, because they didn't need to let him come back. And I think that if he's serious about wanting to run NXT eventually and mentor the up and coming talent, then he has to take this opportunity and run with it and make sure that he does everything correctly, because he knows the second he does anything problematic or causes any sort of issue, he's done. And that means so are the chances of you replacing Shawn Michaels. So that might be worthy enough for him to be like, okay, I can't really do my BS antics, or I can't really get involved in this argument with this dude or whatever, you know, like it might actually work in their favor to at least entertain it, even if it's not something that's going to happen for 10 or 20 years, you know.
It when you have all these NXT wrestlers look up to a guy like Punk, and that's the future, you have a responsibility in your hands. And we've seen him post the pictures and whatnot on social media. Like, that's the next generation that is right now and that looked up to you when you were there. So you could have that literal full circle moment, come to Jesus moment, whatever you want to call it, of, oh, I should take this seriously and not screw it up and not let my ego get in the way of things. And it seems like he's married. I mean, he has his dog Larry, which is the way he talked about him in some video I watch, is like basically a child to him. So that changes someone. And now you have these other kids essentially that you're going to look after, so they become your responsibility. When you have more responsibility on your plate, then you have to step up, and it forces you to step up. And this is kind of what it's doing. It's forcing him to step up and have these goals to execute.
And I think with the conversations that he's having with them, like Indy Hartwell telling him that she felt betrayed when he walked out, you know, like you don't want to then actively get involved in like the development of wrestlers down in NXT and then do the exact same thing. You know what I mean? Especially people like Cora and Roxanne who idolized him and AJ. Like you don't want to let them be able to say never meet your heroes, you know? Like
Yeah,
you
you don't
don't
want
want
that.
that to happen. And it's like he doesn't even have to take over the company soon. But whenever he's decided that his in-ring career is over, guarantee you they would hire him as a trainer or something. Even
Yeah.
like imagine him being like the promo class person. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that.
Something
Like
easy
doesn't even have
that,
to be
yeah.
in-ring stuff, but he can still do that, and then maybe like that gives him a little bit of a taste of like, okay, like am I really interested in this? Am I not? I don't see any reason why, as long as he continues on the path that he's on right now, why they wouldn't explore this opportunity with him, because it seems so far going with former wrestlers in positions of power are actually working. So it wouldn't be a bad idea for Punk, and Punk would bring people to NXT. Like people would want to be there because he was there.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
think of it like that. 2, Royal Rumble season. All right, we're going along here. So just give me quick returns, debuts, whatever you want to see at the Rumble.
Jade. For the men. Ooh, I don't know. I have not thought about this at all. And the thing is like, part of it is because I don't want to see a lot of it. I don't want it to be the Royal Rumble of old. As much as I loved that as a kid, it was because I wasn't as like emotionally invested or like mentally invested into it as I am now. Yeah. So like I loved that like half of the entrants were like people from 20 years ago. You know what I mean? But like now that would piss me off. So I would love for Jade to debut at the Rumble. I think that would be the perfect place for her to debut. But I don't know that I really have any others that I'm like, oh, that would be the best place, you know, like Sasha Banks, like that. No,
I want to
like,
see that just because I just want Sasha back in WWE. Such
I
a
just
low bias there, but
I just don't know if it. I mean, I guess it could happen at the Rumble, and then
CM Punk
but the
should
problem
debut
is
at Survivor Series. Anything's
the,
definitely
the
possible.
problem is though is that if she were to be involved with Bailey stuff, she would have to be on SmackDown, and that's like way too many girls on SmackDown.
You can't have. Maybe Bailey jumps to Raw.
Well, not if she's gonna go against EO, but maybe I don't know. I guess
After
if she
Mania.
wins, it doesn't matter. But yeah, because you can't have Sasha, Bailey, Charlotte, Bianca, Asuka,
No,
Io. Like you can't have all of them on SmackDown, and then Raw is Rhea and Becky. Like
yeah, it's
what?
like the '92 Dream Team taking
It's
on
like
Spain.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, that would be bad. So
I want to see AJ Lee.
oh yes,
For
yeah,
the moment, I want to see that moment happen.
a
Of her
one-off.
Roxanne.
I would be fine with a one-off.
I like for the men's. It needs to be a one-off. AJ Lee doesn't need to be in wrestling anymore. I just want to see her have that moment. Boom.
Well, and now it would just be corny because you know the only reason she's back is because of Punk, and it's like,
exactly. Like,
yeah,
she's moved on. I want to see this. I just thought of this. Brilliant. Matt Cardona.
Oh yeah, that's been rumored for a while too. I would love for him and Chelsea to be a thing on Raw. Like bring back the male and female like tag team type of thing. You know what I mean? Or just like more interactions like that, because you know, it's like Miz and the Maurice or Karrion Kross and Scarlett. Like I just love the dynamic between, you know, a male and female partnership, and I feel like they would be hilarious together.
Oh, they would be so funny.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be just funny, but then they could also be in title pictures and put on bangers and then unbelievable backstage segments. Like they have the triple threat.
And it would be interesting because you could see him more in a serious light now, you know, because like when he was last around, he was Zack Ryder, and maybe he'd return as Zack Ryder. But
no,
like,
he said that's dead.
I just meant like if they wouldn't let him is what I mean. But he wouldn't be the woo 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 guy, you know, and like it would be fine if Chelsea's still doing the same thing she's doing. It would be kind of a cool like bounce off of each other of like she was the one that wasn't serious, you know.
Yeah. I'd like to see those. I don't really have any for men's because I just want to see someone that's not Cody Rhodes or Punk with the Rumble. That's
I know, but I feel like I have to just embrace it being Cody at this point.
Sami Zayn. That's my pick.
It's just because of what I want at Mania. I feel like it's the only way it can happen is if it's Cody. But
I think it is too.
and that's the thing is like if that's what's gonna happen and eventually Cody can like dethrone Roman, then that's fine. I'll accept that he won it 2 years in a row. I hate it. I don't like it. But if that's what his eventual fate is to take the title off Roman, then I guess I can be fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd learn to be fine with it.
Yeah, I would be.
As long as they take the title off. Yeah. As long as they take the title off Roman.
Well, here's the thing, Sarah, as we ring that bell. It's I saw a graphic today, and I'm gonna go to it. That where is it? Come here. That Roman Reigns has the potential to surpass Hulk Hogan if he holds the title until December.
September.
It's been a long day.
Yeah, September.
Yes, it's September. You are 1,000% right. And Hogan has 1,474 days, and Roman is at 1,200 days. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm really torn here. I wanted to bring this up because I have lost I went from here as a Hulk Hogan fan as a kid, loved him, everything. And as I've grown up, my fandom for him
Well,
and
yeah.
love for him, I mean, that's just what happens when you become a knowledgeable wrestling fan. But I want to see Roman conquer because then your champion in your era when you're watching is the guy. Problem is the way that his title reign's been going, it just feels like it does it's a number. It doesn't feel like anything.
Well, it's like I was seeing that they were talking about like Bruno Sammartino and like how long he was champion or whatever, and it was like he literally defended his title 675 times in the like 2,800 days or whatever it was that he had the title. 675 days or 75 times. Like Roman defended it 5 times last year.
He competed 11.
Well, 11 matches, 5 title defenses. So no, and the thing is like they don't really have any reason to try and erase Hulk Hogan from history. You know, like the way that they did with Nikki Bella becoming the longest reigning Divas champion. The reason they were doing that was to get AJ Lee out of the books. That's the only reason why Nikki was champion for that long. They don't have any reason to do that with Hulk Hogan. And I think that it will be a massive mistake if they don't have whoever is against Roman at Mania take the title off him. I think that is it. I think fans will revolt. Like I really do. I people have gotten to the point where almost every comment on any post about Roman Reigns is talking about how he never works, that people don't care about the title anymore. And like it would be such a joke if he kept it for this long or this long. And it's like if you then bring it to Mania and have it 2 years in a row, maybe even against Cody, book it up that it's going to be this massive match and make it feel like he's going to lose, and then you don't do it. Like,
I know. You need to see Cody win. You need to see change.
You can't have you just can't have Roman be champion for that long. The dude never shows up. And it's like I understand that they want you to have that reaction where they want you to be mad and hate him, but it's like but you can't compare his reign to Hulk Hogan. Like that would be embarrassing for you to even act like it's the same or that he deserves to outshine Hogan, where Hogan was probably defending that thing like every night.
And that's the difference, Sarah. You bring up a good point. Is he's defending it. I don't screw backstage politics aside here. I don't even care about that right now. The man was defending it and actually putting on matches and selling out arenas and bringing tickets in. Yes, Roman's doing all that, but he's not there. It just feels like, I mean, this championship feels like it has more worth at this point.
And I agree with Entertainment in the comments. He was saying like if Roman was actually like on all the time, then I wouldn't say no. Like
we'd be
I'd be like, this dude's on every pay-per-view. He's defending it on every pay-per-view. He's active in storylines. Like the bloodline's the hottest thing, blah, blah, blah. If that were the case, then I'd be all like, okay, I wouldn't be all for it, but I wouldn't be against it. But like, you're letting him coast. So like, it wouldn't mean anything because everybody who has been watching throughout his title reign, there would always be an asterisk against next to his title reign because it's not the same at all. So why would you think that he deserves it? Like he's not Hulk Hogan. Like I know you guys want him to be Hulk Hogan, but he's not. Like he's not that legendary. He's really not. He's not this era's John Cena. He's not. Sorry.
Well, that's a nice hell of a way to wrap this up. Is that Roman Reigns is not John Cena?
He's not.
He's
not that influential in wrestling, and he's not that legendary. Hate
You're
to
not
tell
that
you,
guy, pal. You're not that guy, pal.
You're not that guy. Okay, just like Julian Edelman said, fuck Alex Smith. Okay, fuck you, Alex Smith. And shout out to Cam Newton. Because Cam Newton put those haters to shame in that 10-minute video that I sat and watched the entire thing. And I was, yes, king the whole time. That man is a king. And he put those people to shame. Because those are just two kings right there. Jules and Cam. We love it. We love it.
We stand
some kings.
We stand some kings here in the Art of Streams.
Yes, we do.
Speaking of kings, the comment section. Thank you guys. I mean, we went an hour and a half today. Still got 11 people watching. You guys are awesome. All right. We appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in to this edition of Bits and Sarah's Wrestling Show. We got SmackDown in 15 minutes. All right.
Oh, perfect timing for you.
Perfect timing. So go, everyone, get ready for that. Make sure you subscribe, hit that bell notification tone when we post and go live. And then follow us on all social media platforms in the description below. Okay, below. So thank you guys for tuning in. God bless. Remember that you can do it. All you gotta do is try. We will see you hopefully mañana. SmackDown Breakdown. Yeah.